Hello, guys. A lot of you have these big fears around rejection. You're working on your sex life, you're working on your dating life, but you're perpetually terrified of doing something wrong, of having her not be into you, of having her say no to you, whatever it might be. And I want you to know that I used to feel the same way. Yes, these days I have a lot of sex. I obviously have a girlfriend, Emmy, that I've been in a relationship with for almost 7 years at this point, and we are dating another girl, Bronwyn, together. We've been seeing her for about 2.5 years. Sex life is pretty good, but it wasn't always this way. And a lot of the fears and the sort of self sabotage that a lot of you feel or go through, I went through that stuff too. So let's take a little trip down memory lane. This is an article I wrote many years ago, and I talk about how back in 2028, I was going through this period of frustration when it came to women. I wasn't really getting laid as much as I wanted to, and I thought it was because girls were against me. I told this big story of how it's not fair, women have it easy, it's so hard for men, why can't I get laid, blah, blah, blah. And that was me sort of protecting my own ego and saying, it's not my fault, blah, 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 which is something a lot of you do. It's something that our brains want to tell us, right? It's not my fault. It's women's fault. It's society's fault. It's not fair that I'm not tall enough or attractive enough or whatever. I was doing all of that too. I used to do the same thing. But when I could be honest, it was clear that I was cock blocking myself. I was sort of self sabotaging or self protecting, protecting myself from rejection. And I was going on 3 or 4 dates with a girl without making a move on her, without even telling her that I found her attractive or pretty or anything like that. I was so afraid of risking rejection by inviting them back to my place. A few times I did have a girl back in my place, and then I didn't try and have sex with them. I basically played it safe. I ghosted a few girls for no reason. Well, the reason was to protect myself from possible rejection, which is something that a lot of you do. And I was, I guess, self-aware enough at the time. My thought process was, if I ghost them first, then they won't be able to ghost me. How many of you can relate to that? It's a very human thing that we're like, someone else is going to hurt me, so let me push them away so they can't hurt me. It's like a self-protection or self-sabotage. I was so terrified of rejection that I let it overwhelm me to the point that I was having almost no success. I posted on the Good Looking Loser forums, which was a forum I was part of that was working on sex and dating and all of that stuff, and a few guys absolutely slammed me, effectively saying, "What the fuck are you doing, Andy? You are bitching about not getting laid, yet you're not even trying to get laid." And in hindsight, I was trying, but I was also protecting. A lot of you were in that same boat, right? Like, you will go out there, you will talk to lots of women, but then when it comes time to do the next step, like invite her out on a date, or say, "You're so pretty, can I kiss you?" Or say, "Do you want to come back to my place?" You will self-protect and you'll hold back and you won't do it. And you'll say, "What's the point? It's not going to work," or "I should wait till the right time," or "We should go on a few more dates first." Like, you're playing it safe. I did that stuff too. And one guy in particular on those forums, a guy called Adrian LTS, said it best. "I find it weird that you even had a third date with this particular girl that I was talking about in this post. You should have tried hard to fuck her on the first or at the very least second date." Yeah, and I was playing it very safe. I didn't make any move. I didn't tell her that she was attractive. I didn't say, "Can I kiss you?" I didn't say, "Do you want to come back to my place?" I did literally nothing because I was afraid of fucking it up. And the truth is that I felt like this girl was, quote, too good for me. And how many of you can relate to that? You feel like the person that you're on a date with is too attractive for you, or you're not good enough, or whatever it might be. And then you don't make a move. So I didn't even try and sleep with her. I was playing it safe. And it wasn't just her, though. I'd been playing it safe with the last 20 girls that I'd been on dates with. Yeah. I literally got out a big piece of paper and I wrote down all of the women that I could remember from the last 20 dates that I'd been on. I was playing it safe with basically all of them. A bunch of them wanted to kiss me. A bunch of them we had kissed. A bunch of them literally had said, "Hey, we can go back to your apartment next time." And it's I was just too afraid. I was afraid of being hurt. I was afraid they wouldn't like me. I was very deeply insecure about being bold at that time. I don't think at that point I'd made the decision to shave my head. I'm completely shaved now. But I think at that time my hairline had been receding. My hair was thinning a lot. And I was really insecure about that. So I think I was playing it safe with that as well. I also didn't really feel confident in my sexual skills. I felt like a bit of a train wreck emotionally. And I thought, why would a woman want to sleep with me? They'll fuck me once and then they'll leave. So I was playing it safe. And I basically had 15 or 20 girls that I'd been on dates with. A bunch of them would have slept with me, but I just didn't try because I was scared. I go on to say it wasn't just this Adrian LTS guy who helped me. Another guy, no strings attached, kicked me into gear by giving me an impassioned speech, telling me to stop fucking around and just going all in. I've written about exactly what he said here, and we'll read that in a second, but for full context, I was obsessing about my percentages. And I was saying, I've approached 100 women and none of them have slept with me. That's a 0%. I was obsessed with the percentage. Rather than playing to win, I was playing not to lose. I was like, I've been rejected this many times. And this no strings attached guy gave me a big pep talk and was like, why do you care how many girls have said no to you? And so here is what he said to me. I'm going to be straight up with you. You have delusional expectations of this game. For starters, you have this idea of there being a magic number of approaches that it takes to fuck a girl. There isn't. I know Chris, good-looking loser, mentions his approach to lays ratio, but they are meaningless. Instead of carefully calculating your approaches as if you have a limited amount that you can use, approach as if your life depended on it. You can keep track of all of your stats, approaches, dates, etc., but what counts is how many girls you fucked. If you think that you're cool because you fucked X amount of girls with the least amount of approaches, you are wrong. While you're out here calculating your 1,000 approaches, Chad is out there fucking 4 new bitches. This way of speaking makes me giggle because it's not really how we talk anymore, but yeah, it did the job, definitely kicked my ass into gear. Let's say it took him 4,000 approaches to get these 4 girls in 1 month. It doesn't matter because he got laid. The way I see it, what matters the most is when I'm getting laid. Am I getting laid today or 1 year from now? Am I going to fuck 30 girls this year or over a span of 5 years? Secondly, you really need to work on your looks. Yeah, I was skinny fat at the time. I don't know what the trends are in Australia, but in Los Angeles, your style would be lacking. Yeah, I didn't put much effort in. You are tall though, and that puts you at a great advantage. Use that. For the types of girls that you like, which at the time was mostly like shy girls and sweet girls and Asian girls and cute girls, girl next door, like bookworm. I don't think you have to get buff. I'm not saying not to, but I think while you work on that, you should wear looser clothing. Yeah, I was kind of fat at the time. Clothing that fits well but doesn't hug you to the point where you can tell that you're skinny fat. Thirdly, you mentioned this, but I will say it again. If you want to be successful, you have to go all in. You said you haven't gone all in because you are afraid. Yes, I was very fucking afraid. I can assure you that if you go all in with this, you will succeed. And the same thing applies to all of you. No matter what your goal is, even if you have no interest in sex, if your goal is something else, if you go all in or start the baby steps to start going more all in, you will succeed. I can't say how long it will take to achieve your goals. It might take you 2 years. It might take you 10. It doesn't ever take that long. I don't know. But as long as you keep improving and pushing yourself, you will succeed. This game is harder than it looks. That's why most people quit. The game eats most people alive. Accept the fact that this is hard, respect it, and then play it with all that you've got. How much does that relate to all of you? So he and this Adrian LTS guy gave me these 2, passionate speeches, and then I went all in. That was such a wake-up call for me that I was like, damn, like these guys are right. I spent about 2 weeks just thinking about it, and I was like, damn, yeah, I've been holding back. I've been scared. I've been playing not to lose. I've been trying to avoid rejection. I've been trying to avoid getting hurt. But I haven't been playing to win. I haven't been trying to have a good experience myself and with these women. I haven't been trying to make my life better or theirs. I've just been ghosting them because I'm scared of getting hurt. I've been breaking up with them because I'm terrified they're going to break up with me. I've been holding back from saying, can I kiss you? Do you want to come back to my place? Because I'm scared that they'll say no. I haven't really been trying. And how much can a lot of you relate to that? We hold back because we're afraid of rejection. And so we don't really participate. We don't really try. We don't go all in. And then we wonder why we don't get the results. So I read all of that. I went hardcore. I ended up having a bunch of sex. And then I made this post a couple of weeks later. Hey, Adrian and the other guy, no strings attached. What you wrote hit me really hard. Thanks for saying what needed to be said. I haven't even been trying to get laid. So this last week, I put some fucking effort in and I got laid. Funny how when we really try, we get the thing that we want. I will tell the story of the woman that I banged below. Didn't I used to have a really funny way of speaking? I used to talk about like banging, getting laid, bitches. So why haven't I been getting laid? I haven't even been trying. As Adrian pointed out, I haven't even been trying to get laid while on dates. And I've been flaking on so many girls who want to meet up with me for no reason at all. Like I've cancelled dates and ghosted girls and messed them around, etc. And I was doing that out of self-protection. I was scared, and so a lot of you too. You don't have to beat yourself up if you're like self-sabotaging. I prefer to call it self-protection. You're protecting yourself or trying to protect yourself from getting hurt or getting rejected or being used or whatever you might be afraid of. When we get really defensive, we end up not winning because we block anyone that wants to give us the thing that we want. Again, I got out a big piece of paper and there was like 15 or 20 women that had either wanted to sleep with me and like literally had said that, or we'd already made out, or we'd gone on like 3 dates and they kept making it clear they were into me and like texting me and being like, when can I see you again? And then I would send them a text and just say, hey, I think maybe we shouldn't see each other for like no reason other than self-protection. And so a lot of you can probably relate to that, hey? Like it's what we do when we're scared. I've been self-sabotaging or self-protecting nonstop for the last 6 months. I got out a sheet of paper and I wrote down all the girls that I flaked on and not tried to bang. And it's more than 15 girls. Yeah, I like literally wrote their names down on a piece of paper. And then underneath each name, I wrote the reason why we hadn't had sex or hadn't gone further. And every single time it was me. It was like, well, she texted me and told me she wanted to meet up on Friday. And then Friday rolled around and I said, hey, I'm sorry, something came up. And then I just fucking never texted her again. Or we were at my place and we made out and then we were going to have sex, but we just watched a movie and I did nothing. Like there was like 15 girls that I did that with. And again, a lot of you can relate to that. It's why when some of you say, no woman's ever shown interest in me, and then I gently push back on that and say, is that true? There's got to be at least one woman in your entire life. And then when you stop and pause and think, you're like, oh, wait. Well, there was that one girl who was literally telling me that she liked me, but then I thought, it's not going to work. She doesn't really like me. Why would I go out with her? And then there was that other girl that kept talking to me literally every day at work, every single day, showing me attention, asking me, what are you up to on the weekend? Making jokes with me, having a good time. I could have asked her out. I don't know if she likes me, but I could have at least tried. Like all of you have these sort of opportunities. It's just that we're too afraid to notice them, or we notice them, but then we push them away so that we don't get hurt, or we think that stops us from getting hurt. But really, we end up hurting ourselves, don't we? It's pretty fucking lonely pushing everyone away. So I got out a piece of paper, wrote down all the girls I flaked on and not tried to bang. It's more than 15 girls. And those are just the ones that I can remember. The real number is probably much more than that. Yeah. The only real reason is fear of rejection. Yeah, I was pretty self-aware all the way back then. Isn't that interesting? Because again, all of this stuff that I'm reading out is like back in early 2018. So quite a long time ago. This was a really long time ago. Actually, on this note, something interesting that Taylor and I, Taylor, one of the coaches in my coaching program, he's like, man, you used to talk way differently back in the day. And do you ever like cringe when you read your old stuff? I don't cringe, but I definitely don't talk like this anymore. I'm not obsessed with like getting laid. I don't talk about like banging. I don't say bitches. I talk a lot more, I don't know, I guess peacefully. Anyway, the only reason is fear of rejection. I don't give a shit about being rejected on approach. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. But I have this huge aversion to getting rejected when I actually try and have sex with a chick. So I haven't even been trying. I've been satisfied just being on a date with a girl, and I haven't even tried for anything more than that, which is fucking insane and frankly embarrassing as fuck to admit. Yeah, I used to feel a lot of shame and guilt. Hey, I guess a lot of you do. I didn't realize I was doing it, as stupid as that sounds. My God, I was really hard on myself back in the day. I'm sure a lot of you are too. I can see a lot of you being hard on yourselves too, and that's okay. It wasn't until Adrian pointed it out that I had to stop and think, fuck, he's right. So thanks for saying it, dude. I got a ton more numbers from Tinder, and I have still been doing a few approaches every single day. I will get laid again either this week or next. Time to stop running from my fears. And then I think this was a couple of days later. And this is a cool story. I like this story. Signed up for Tinder this week. I made my profile really sexual. The profile literally says, not looking for anything serious. And under, what are you looking for? I put hookups. Yeah, these were sort of my first attempts into honesty and just being upfront and saying, this is what I want. Who's wanting the same thing with me? I messaged this 31-year-old chick with tattoos. I got her phone number. Back then. I was so intimidated by women with tattoos. I think this was before I had tattoos, or maybe I had one tattoo, and I was really intimidated by women with tattoos. I think I was just intimidated by women in general, but I was doing my best. Right off the bat, the conversation was sexual. It was obvious she was DTF. Okay, one thing I will insert is it's never obvious that someone is down to fuck until the moment that you actually fuck. A lot of people like to flirt and talk dirty, and then you get to the bedroom, or you start making plans to get to the bedroom, but then they're a little intimidated or they really didn't plan to meet up with you. So yeah, I used to mind read or try and mind read and be like, oh, this chick is down to fuck. But something I say to all of you and to my coaching clients is don't worry or don't try and mind read if this person is down. Literally just say the next step, which is like, do you want to meet up? If they say yes, cool, we're going to meet up. You're sexy, can I kiss you? Or do you want to come back to my place? You never know if they're down to fuck until you keep saying the next step. First, let me get your phone number. Then, let's go on a date. Then, do you want to come back to my place or can I kiss you? Then, hey, let's go to the bedroom. The moment your penis enters her vagina, then you know that she's down to fuck. I tried to organize a meetup, as in with this woman, but our schedules kept clashing. She joked, you should come say hi at my work during the day. So I did. I literally went to her workplace. I remember this. This was like one of the craziest things I ever did. I think this was one of the first things that I ever really did. Actually, no, I'd done a couple of things like this before, but this was like the start of me being a little bit of a sexual boy. I took this picture while waiting for her in the lobby at her workplace. I literally sat in the workplace and I was reading these newspapers that you can see here. And I'm sitting on a couch and I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? Is this insane? Am I about to get like my kidneys robbed? Like, what is this workplace? I don't even know where the fuck I am. It was just some random like office building or some shit. I'm waiting in the lobby and I'm texting her dirty shit. And she's like, I'm going to go on my lunch break or my tea break or whatever in like the next 20 minutes. And I'm just sitting in the lobby going like, what the fuck am I doing? And so there's this toilet, or you Americans call it a bathroom, downstairs in the lobby. And we had organized. We were joking with each other the entire time. She's like, ha ha ha, you should come to my workplace. And I was like, ha ha ha, what if I actually did though? And she's like, lol, ha ha ha, what would we do? And I was like, I don't know, lol, ha ha ha, maybe we could like kiss in the lobby. And she's like, no, there's people in the lobby. And I was like, okay, lol, ha ha ha, maybe we can go for a walk and hold hands, blah blah blah. Like, we were both so nervous with what we were doing, and we just kept joking and escalating the conversation until finally at some point I was like, lol, imagine if you snuck into the bathroom and then I waited 5 minutes and then snuck in there too, so no one would realize that we're both in there, and then we could just have crazy sex. Like, it was a big massive bathroom, like a disabled toilet or whatever you call them. So it was huge. Yeah, anyway. And so we're joking about this shit, and then I'm like, let's do it. And so she went into the downstairs toilet or bathroom. She went in there first. I waited a couple of minutes. I was supposed to wait like 5 or 10 minutes, but I couldn't last more than 2 minutes. And then I went in there after her. And I got to be really careful scrolling because there are some nude pictures in this article. Jesus Christ, it was pretty fucking insane sex. Yeah, this was like one of the wildest sexual experiences of my life. Super rough. I spat all over her face. I choked her, the usual. She was giving as much as she was getting, and we were both trying really hard to be quiet. Yeah, I remember. She was moaning super loud, and I couldn't get her to be quiet, which made me kind of giggle. So anyone walking past would have heard a girl moaning, and then a guy giggling like an idiot. We were like two horny little teenagers. It was really fun. She was older too. Like I said, she was like 31. I think at the time I was like 28. It was a great experience. She was amazing. And then I go on to say, if you've read some of my other stories, as in on my blog, you'll see that I went on to start having threesomes, wild sexual experiences, and really going all in with getting laid. Yes, this was literally the catalyst. What those two guys wrote to me when they were like, you're so afraid of rejection that you're holding back, you're not playing the numbers game, you're obsessing with like not losing, you're rejecting people or not trying as hard as you could be, you're not talking to as many women as you could be because you're scared. As soon as they gave me that pep talk, that was literally the catalyst that built like everything after that. And so what those two guys said to me absolutely changed my life for the better. It was a massive turning point in my self-improvement journey. They kind of called me out on being a pussy. Man, I would phrase that a little more nicely now, but they challenged me to go all in, and I'm so glad they did. At first, it was really hard. It was terrifying to admit to myself that I really did want to get laid, and I was willing to do whatever it takes. It took a lot of thinking, a lot of meditating, and a lot of soul searching. And in the end, I knew I'd never be happy. I wouldn't phrase it like that now. I wouldn't say you can't be happy until you reach your goals. I think that's just a recipe for suffering, but that's how I felt at the time. Remember, I wrote this article many years ago, and the story that we're talking about is literally 8 years ago or 7 years ago. So I had no choice. There's always a choice, but that's how I used to speak. But to give it everything I possibly could. And if you're struggling to go all in, here's a bunch of other articles, blah, blah, blah. Go all in, give it 100% of your effort to keep improving yourself, getting laid, and being a man worthy of respect. Don't hold anything back. And then there's a follow-up to this where there was a moment where I realized, holy shit, I'm actually a guy that gets laid. Funny story, that wasn't until I had my second threesome with Imogen. And after I had that second threesome, I was like, wow, maybe I can get laid. And it's like, yeah, dude, you've had 2 threesomes. What are you talking about? You had sex with like 100 women or some shit. Yes, you can get laid. But my self-esteem took a little while to catch up, or giving myself credit took a little while to catch up. So if you want me to do a follow-up video to this one, I can happily read out that story and talk more about that. If you guys and girls found this interesting, let me know. I kind of like going through some of my old articles and seeing how I used to talk, seeing how I used to be a little bit more maybe hard on myself. I used to believe some things that I've now realized are not quite true, like you can't be happy until you get laid, stuff like that. It's interesting how much I was sort of self-protecting and holding back, just like a lot of you. And that was kind of the point of today's video, is to show you guys and girls that I get it. I get why you self-sabotage or self-protect. I get why you hold back. I get why you're scared. I get why you avoid rejection or try really hard to. I get why you're afraid to talk to more women. I get why you're afraid to start that business or hit the gym. That was me. You know, I've said this a million times. I'm not some special exception. I'm not courageous. I didn't wake up being a fucking confident person. No, I was exactly like all of you. I was terrified. I fucking self-protected a bunch of times. And so if that's you, just know that you're not alone. I did the same thing. Pretty much all of my coaching clients do it too. Like that's a big part of my coaching, is basically saying, hey, I noticed here that you're avoiding trying to win. You're almost trying not to lose. You're playing not to lose, and you're not really going all in. You're not taking a chance. You're not taking a risk. You're not saying what you really want. You're kind of holding back. I literally had a guy in my coaching group yesterday who went on a date with a girl, and he wants to see her again, but he's sort of overthinking what to text her. And he's like, what if she thinks I'm too boyfriendish? What if it's too early for me to reply to her? What if it hasn't been long enough? What if she doesn't like what I say? What if she thinks that I'm a beta? And I was like, dude, calm down. Right now you're playing not to lose. Look at you trying to avoid rejection. What bad thing happens if she thinks you're a loser? Then you just go talk to the next woman and we'll make you feel better. We'll tell you that you're not a loser. You can tell that to yourself as well, and then you'll feel better. So why don't you take a chance, tell her what you want, which is, I want to go on a second date with you. I want to kiss you. Let's go on a fucking second date. And he did. He literally texted her and said, hey, by the way, on the first date, I wanted to kiss you, but I was nervous. And so let's go on a second date. I want to kiss you. Brilliant. Good. You went for what you want. You were honest upfront. And now you're more likely to make it happen. So I get all of the fears that all of you have. Believe me, I was there. Most of my coaching clients are still there. If you want my help with this, I will leave a link in the description below to the coaching program. We would love to hold your hand through this stuff, get you that beautiful life of abundance and joy and sex and money and whatever else it might be that you want. I'll run the little coaching outro at the end of this video so you can see a little bit more details. But yeah, we'd love to change your life. I can promise I will pour my heart and soul into building you the most beautiful life that you could ever fucking imagine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, go out there, crush those goals. And if you find yourself self-protecting or self-sabotaging, just know that's okay. I was there myself. Just try and take a little baby step towards being a little bit more courageous. Rather than saying, this won't work, so I shouldn't even try, just say, fuck it, I'm going to try and see what happens. If you've been wanting an amazing, awesome, elite sex life, tons of threesomes, plenty of wild adventures and great memories with awesome people, we would love to help you get there. Here's just a little bit of what our coaching clients have achieved in their time in the program. Renee had a threesome in just his second week of coaching, had a woman write him a love letter, and he went on to have sex with 12 women in just 12 weeks of coaching. Corky had his first threesome, slept with 7 amazing women, and made a ton of awesome memories with them. George and Power both had sex with 10 women each in their 12 weeks, had a bunch of wild adventures along the way. Join me and join them by clicking the coaching link in the description below.